All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 297 of the KissFAQ Podcast. We are out of bound. We are off schedule. This week is, of course, a Look It's Rock and Roll podcast week. So we're going to be putting up a new episode about music on Thursday. But we did want to get together and talk about the Oakland Kiss show, which took place on Friday, March the 6th. And just do a quick recap of that since we both went. But first, let's just start off with the disclaimer. Anything that we say on this show is our opinion. It's about as far away you can get from the official word as possible. So just always keep that in mind when we're talking. Because, the first item that I'm going to mention is about the canceled meet and greet, which unfortunately happened on Friday. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the emails did go out today from the VIP group at Epic Rights who handle that side of things. And I'll just read the statement that Doc made in this email. And it was, of course, our meet and greets have always offered us and you, our fans, a unique opportunity to literally stand shoulder to shoulder together. After many discussions with experts in the field, we have been advised to temporarily cancel these events given the reality that we do this nightly for 100 or more fans. Shows will continue as scheduled, and we look forward to resuming our time with you backstage. Doc McGee, Kiss manager. And, of course, your VIP upgrade will be refunded in full. And that only pertains to VIP meet and greet experiences. Yeah. It says nothing about Tommy guitar experiences, Gene Simmons vault or basses, Paul Stanley guitars, microphones, Eric Singer drums, drum heads, whatnot, or any of those. Those are much smaller groups than the VIP photograph opportunities. And, if you have any questions, reach out to the email that you got from your point of purchase for any of those. But again, this only refers to the KISS VIP cancellations, which are a completely different product than any of the other experiences that you can have one-on-one with the band members prior to and after the show. So if you're not sure, check. Don't post on Facebook or on the FAQ or on Twitter, so that trolls and people who have no idea what they're saying can answer. Go to your point of purchase. That being said, Ken, good to see you again a few days after the show. Here we are. And let's just get your initial impressions of Kiss in Oakland last Friday.
Well, Kiss in Oakland was a great time. I don't know. Do you want to start from the beginning? Or what do you want? Or you just want to know the show?
That's usually the best part. You start at the beginning.
Let's start at the beginning. Okay. Well, I'll tell you something, and I told you that when I got there. So I got to the show, and the gates weren't open. I drove, and I only had to wait about 15 minutes for them to finally open the gates. There's a line of cars there, so we were all parked waiting for the gates to open. And then I see these guys pulling T-shirts out of the back of a SUV, and they're walking up and down the cars that are parked there waiting to get in, selling these shirts, Kiss shirts, and they're selling them for about $25 a piece. And I knew they were, they're not the legit shirts, they're knockoffs, copies, bootlegs, or whatever you want to call them. So I was just I was watching these guys and walking up, and people are buying them, here and there, and I was like, no, I'm not getting one. The guy runs out of shirts, goes back into the SUV and gets more. I think they had a couple SUVs parked in different kind of situations. I find it interesting how they do that. They situated themselves, they got in at a certain time right before some cars are already in there waiting, and then they get in line, and then they're selling them right there. And then I guess once they get through the gate, they're going to sell them. They sell them once they're in, which they were doing after the show. So anyway.
surprisingly, they do get through the gate, and they were selling them after the show from basically the front gates all the way to Bart.
Yeah.
So they're
Saw
just
I
there
saw
were plenty.
$10 at that
Yeah,
time.
they were $10 at that point. So, I still didn't buy one. I didn't buy a
No, I
single
didn't.
thing. I showed up early. I was coming in from San Fran. It's been a while since I've done the Bart thing here, so I'd had a liquid lunch, and I showed up I think at 4:30, or no 4. So I was well early. So I went for a couple
Hour
mile
ahead.
walk around the arena just to get
Mhm.
some of my steps in for my slave driver Fitbit here. And then 4:30 comes around. I figured I'd go and just look at Will Call, because I was sitting there, by the BART bridge, just looking out, and I saw David Lee Roth arrive. I saw 3 Escalades come in, which I assume were, the band.
Mhm.
Because other than that, it was all workers coming in, and I'd seen the plane land at Oakland or some airport. They
Mhm.
came into, because of course the flight tracking's available. Like a
Oh.
real stalker with David Lee Roth up front in what looked like an Uber or something. It was either him or someone who was very different. So 4:30 comes around. I just go around to see if Will Call's going to be open so I could get my stuff, and it wasn't, but they had already set up outside. 1077 The Bone was setting up, doing their shit. They were all painted up and looked good. They had a tractor trailer out there that was already doing merch sales, and it was just fun watching people arrive and go up to the merch and go, all the holy shit, $75 for was
Like,
generally the response that I heard multiple times while watching. And out there, it was just T-shirts and kind of the, bandanas, caps, that stuff. They did not have the high-end jackets. They did not have the drum heads. If they'd had a drum head, I was so bored at that point, I probably would have bought one.
mhm.
Did not have the, I think they had tour books, but they didn't have the mini guitars, didn't have drumsticks, So there was stuff and they did not have the Oakland specific shirt, which I just never ended up getting one. So
Mhm. Yeah, me
it
neither.
was fun. Again, it was fun watching people buy this stuff and just the expressions on them. One guy grumbled, should have bought one of the bootleg shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course just watching the ticket office, who were doing reasonable business. I mean, there wasn't long lines early on for that, but then obviously I was only sitting out there for about half an hour, and then you showed up.
Yeah, I walked up and saw you hanging out there, and I thought, okay, good, you're here. And then it was just a waiting game of waiting to get for instance, our VIP passes. Firstly, um, I know you had heard the rumor that the our meet and greet picture might not happen. So I was like, oh man, I hope you're wrong about that, because that would stink. But
I
yeah,
was
and
hoping
we'll
I
get to
was
that.
wrong about that as well. Trust me,
I know you
I
were.
was really
I
hoping. I
know.
mean, even though I did one in Vancouver, they've changed the backdrop, so I was looking forward to a second one, especially with some of the little modifications to costumes and whatnot. And because I don't see any further shows on my schedule that I can go to unless I travel, which I really don't want to do at this point. I want to do even less now that this show's kind of under the hood. But yeah, it was a little odd. Obviously, I kind of knew what was going to not be happening and hoped that it was incorrect or that,
Yeah.
it had changed. But once I got there and, we'd gotten the email earlier on in the week about where to assemble for the VIP check-in,
Hmm.
which you have to pull your ID and all that, prove who you are in order to get your VIP laminate
Right.
now, at least. But usually there's a flag which has KISS VIP check-in, and there was none of that. It's like on that you'd see one of these like at a golf club or something, showing you where to go for the next tee. There was nothing in the place next to where it was supposed to be, so I kind of figured there, oh shit, But then again, when I'd gone to Will Call for stuff, I'd been told things are running very late. Things
Hmm.
are not quite as smooth today. Things with the promoter going on and whatever. Shit happens. It's concert business. It's maybe a finely run machine and signs, but there's always a gear that gets stuck somewhere. So,
Yeah.
I was not optimistic, and it kind of affected my mood. I got a little bit, especially with the stuff at will call not being ready. They said, that's going to be like 6:45. Before that, I was like, oh shit, that's a pretty big chunk of time, taken out. But then what? We got
So I held it. Yeah, so at that point, when you were checking that, I got in line, right, to hold a spot for us for the VIP, and the first guy I meet or I stand behind in line, he says, "You look familiar." And I'm like, KissFAQ podcast. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So he said, I seen you on there. I said, okay, well, yeah, Julian will be coming around here too, who's, the main, our fearless leader on the show. And I gave him a button, one of our buttons, KissFAQ buttons that you supplied me with. And it turns out this guy is a big Kiss fan, but yes, he's rock and roll. He's a dentist. And he has actually out in San Ramon, rock and roll dentist over in San Ramon, and I work in that area. So I was like, oh shoot, if I have an emergency, I'll just go head over there. He says he has a bunch of Kiss stuff, even in rock and roll stuff, in his dentist office, I guess, on display, something like that. So yeah, he's a nice guy, and it's cool to It's just kind of amazing to me that the first guy I bump up against is someone who's actually watched the show. So
yeah,
I introduced you to him. Yeah,
it's always better when they know you from KissFAQ or a podcast rather than something like, say, Cops Season 3.
Yeah, wanted list.
America's Most Wanted with what's his name, Walsh. So that was again, it's always fun hanging in line. People are walking by, I'm like, hey, just people who I know kind of shouting out at them.
Oh yeah.
And then we go in and go through the check-in, and David Garibaldi walks by. I was like, yo, David Garibaldi, and he just has no idea who the hell it was and doesn't remember me, but sign in and all that was really smooth. No matter what anyone wants to say, your process with Kiss runs really smoothly. I'm so happy they've done a lenticular design for the VIP pass.
Nice.
With a nice lanyard.
Yep, nice.
Which is so much better. I'll just show you the one from last year, which was the hockey puck. And I grumbled about that mercilessly because I just like the thing that's more like a Backstage pass.
You play air hockey with that, I think.
Yeah, again, it's memento. Maybe it was appropriate, particularly for Canada. So with it being a hockey stick, so you got your pass, and then you go through security, and you got to have a ticket, and that's where the issue with will call became a big issue because you can't scan, go in, go out, and all that. So I refused to scan my ticket, resulting in the nice gal working the desk actually escorting me through the security guy, who just was not letting "thou shalt not pass." I mean, he thought he was Gandalf there, and you weren't getting by him, and that's rightfully so. But again, because I still had to collect stuff at will call, it was really a bit of a sticky wicket. But they take us upstairs to the club lounge, which was really nice.
Captain's lounge, they call it. Yes. Yeah, it was nice. But up there is like, well, okay, we're here, and what do we do now? I mean, they have some food, hors d'oeuvres out, and popcorn basket full of popcorn, and peanuts in the basket, and they had a few of the balloons that they, drop out during the concert out there, and I was thinking to grab them, but some other people got them already, and I know they have those clear bottles too.
I love those. Those.
It's like, but what am I do? If I grab it, it's going to break. I'll probably break it or something anyway, and I'll get in real trouble. But we were up there, and then you went back down to check again for the tickets.
After what was it, a 15-minute wait to get a beer, and that was when I was. That's when I was really getting hangry because they had one bartender.
One bartender.
The poor lady who, and everyone seemed to want mixed drinks. And she finally said, "Forget it.
The
I'm just
Kiss
going to fix a
signature
whole
drink.
bunch of signature drinks." I'm just like, I just want a freaking beer.
Yeah, I said, just give me a beer. So yeah, so we waited there. You got up to the front, and then you went out, and then I don't know whether you were in there at the time. Yeah, I think you came back, and then the announcement happened about the one of
The thing.
latest Kiss.
Yeah, so I was going to go back down and check will call
Mhm.
as it was then after 6, and I still didn't know at that point that it was going to be 6:45. So I was going downstairs, and who's coming in? Keith and guitar,
Oh
tech,
yeah,
and guitar, and obviously I knew about what was going to happen, so I was just like, I haven't told anyone,
yeah,
because not my job, not my role, not my
yeah,
place.
yeah.
So
So she announced. She goes, "Well, got an announcement. The meet and greet has been canceled. But you will all get a refund," which was like, oh yeah, I better get a refund for that much money. But you'll be able to still, get your 8x10 or whatever signed litho and get a picture taken with the Paul Stanley's guitar. So you got in line. You were up ahead and got in line before me. I know Keith LaRue was actually taking the pictures, but he was taking pictures with your own camera. So you had to hand him your camera, and he would take the picture of you while you're in line. And I also took a picture of you, and vice versa, of us with the guitar in hand.
yeah,
So
so that was cool. I mean, I think people took the announcement that the meet and greet was canceled for the night pretty well. I think they took it in their
I'm
stride,
surprised.
considering,
Yeah.
there was one couple that were rightfully upset as she'd waited 30 years to meet,
Oh no.
but, still understanding the circumstances, the disappointment of the situation. The photographic backdrop was there. We never did get a picture together, actually, in front of that, which, was going to be kind
Yeah,
of cool because of me running around, trying the quest for the will call stuff.
that's right.
But you know what? They brought up one of Paul's rhinestone guitars, and you got to hold it, which I thought was very cool. It's also good advertising. Here's what you could own. They didn't say it,
True.
but you do know what is available, and you're like, it's a beautiful. It's just an absolutely gorgeous guitar.
Yeah, that's nice.
All the picks on it and everything. And then you said later that they were bringing up Gene's boots, and I checked later, and that is part of the package now. So I thought that was, again, another sop to kind of, make us a little bit happier. But they gave us,
Yeah,
lined up for the lithographs, and then she was also giving out, and I never got her name, so I'm going to refer to her
I
as
forget her name.
she,
Yeah,
since it's a Kiss
that's
podcast.
good one.
She.
Yeah,
She was also giving out pics, So
right.
again, no easy situation. I think they did a great job. They just got up there. They didn't beat around the bush. They just announced it as is and then made the best of the situation. Enjoy your free drinks, your buffet. You're not going to get charged for any of this. You're going to get a refund. Here's the
Hmm.
photographic backdrop you can use for photos while you're here. Take pictures with the props and stuff. But it is
Yeah,
what it is. So there were no tears, no anger. Well, actually there were tears, but there was no anger.
yeah. I mean, I obviously,
I didn't cry for that long.
obviously, I was disappointed because I hadn't done one with the full band. I had a picture with the full band, so that bummed me out because this is the one I thought, okay, I'm gonna get the picture with the band. So now I'm gonna have to wait till they're probably gonna play again, of course. Well, they're playing other shows, of course, but
Vegas
after the
residency.
tour, Vegas, whatever, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna go.
actually,
I'm just gonna go. Have
Dear
to
Kiss,
go.
if you do a Vegas residency, please give those people who've missed out on meet and greet experiences through these last few shows of the U.S. tour a private invitation, a first dibs at that for those who may. You might even get an extra ticket sale out of it for people to go to Vegas. I would actually go to Vegas for that.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
me
anyway
too.
if they do one, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's a given. But that would just be a nice, wrap it all up.
Yeah.
But then again, we'll see what happens. So I didn't hang around for long up there. The lithograph, I was pretty annoyed with. I mean, I was like, I took mine out. I was like, shit, look at this. And you can see it on the screen for those who are listening. It's a fantastic lithograph. Absolutely glorious. Beautiful. Signed in silver by Tommy, Paul, and Eric. And Gene signed it in black, so you can barely see his signature.
So if you have a hard time seeing Gene's signature, that's why it's in black. It's like, oh, why the heck did he use black? That's like, oh my God.
What happened there? And again, it doesn't matter. It is still signed. It's just not visually appealing for me. I walked down the stairs at that point. Once I had that, and I'd taken your photo with the guitar, and finished my beer. I went back downstairs to check on Will Call again. And the first kid I walked into, I was like, hey, is this your first Kiss concert? And his dad's like, yeah, it's his first Kiss concert. I said, here you go. Got rid of my litho again. In Vancouver, it lasted 10 minutes. I was like, I'm going to beat that this time. So 5 minutes, not even down to the bottom of the stairs, got rid of it. And hopefully that kid will enjoy that. And
I'm sure he will.
Concert for his first memory. So go to Will Call. Finally, my stuff's there. Look over. Who do I see? See Mike from Three Sides. And, hey, Mike. Mike did a lot for me back in the day. 2004, 2003, even earlier into the 90s. So, just nice to say hi. And the stuff was there. They're like, you just showed up at the perfect time. I was like, hallelujah. Because obviously was invited backstage to go and say hello, which I haven't done since the last farewell tour. So that was really nice. And I very much appreciate the gesture of being offered that opportunity. And also being able to pay it forward and take you down there as well. Just like I said about, Mike, some of the things that have been facilitated for me in the past that other people have done. I've always tried to do the same thing for other people, whether it's with the vault, whether it's, with the Gene Simmons experience elsewhere and some of the other things, Paul Stanley guitars. Always look out for your fellow fans. It makes it more fun for me. So that's when I stayed downstairs. Because number one, there was a bar with more than one bartender, and I was able to get beer number two, and then text you, get down here.
Yeah, you get down here. I said, oh, well, Doc's coming up. I heard Doc is coming up. But then you go, well, I got the tickets. I was like, okay, I'm coming down. So I just went straight down, and then that one same lady said to me, well, she gave me a couple pics, and she said to me, oh, you don't want to go now. They're bringing the boots up, And I said, you can get it. She said she can get a picture with the boots, and I thought, oh, nah, I'm going down. That's okay. And so I went down and found Julian, and then he handed me the pass for that. So, and then we headed off right down the hallways.
In search, because I don't do this, so I have no clue about proprietary, so I'm kind of feeling my way here. You don't want to do anything inappropriate. Want to just kind of enjoy it, but the staff were helpful in saying, don't go that way, go that way.
Other way, yeah.
Other way.
Exactly.
Get down there, found Tommy's room, where he does his pre-show stuff with friends. I believe his brother was there.
I knew that. I mean, even just looking at him the first time, I said, that looks a lot like, resemblance to Tommy.
Yeah.
So I figured it was a family member or his brother or something like that. Yeah.
And that was really fun downstairs. I mean, hanging out back there, met quite a few very interesting people before even seeing any of the band members. I didn't go in search of anyone, just kind of hung around there. I am not confident or competent enough to be walking around, and I really don't want to bump into a couple of people. Always better just not to. So, Tommy's room was pretty safe territory, and especially, the conversations there were absolutely hilarious. And then going next door to Cleveland, which I can't really remember the order of stuff, but Tommy came in, and went and met everyone, and did some photos with everyone. Got a photo of you with him, it was a nice opportunity to thank Tommy for doing an interview for an Aerosmith book recently that I'm still working on. So, that was the nice thing, to thank someone in person. Again, bumped into David Garibaldi, was able to thank him in person
Mm-hmm.
for, coming on the podcast last year to talk about his art and the shows. So again, just a nice opportunity to see some of these people in person. And you got to meet Tommy, and what do you think of him?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Just a nice guy, and which is what I've always expected anyway. And it was the first time for me meeting him in person. So, and what's the funny thing is, you said he saw you. He said he knew you by first name, hey Julian, and then when he's come over, and you said, this is my friend Ken, and he goes, we've met before, right? Because I looked familiar to him, and I said, I don't think so. And then you said, we're on the podcast together. He goes, that's, So obviously I think they do sometimes watch or maybe see parts of podcasts. I don't know, but he obviously knew my face, from that. But it was great being able to at least, get a picture with Tommy. If I'm not going to get the whole band, I get,
Yeah.
piecemeal
Yeah,
of the band. It's just cool.
In the back
cool.
of your photo is his brother, so his brother's
Yeah,
photobombing
you can see his head.
yours, and his brother's a musician as well, and he did an album quite a few years ago now in the 90s, I think on Eon Records, and I think Tommy helped out on it. If you go on Kiss Related Recordings, Holland, you can find out more about that release. So that was just very cool. And then Tommy's like, "Hey, do you want a photo?" I'm like, "That's okay. Well, we've done this before, which isn't being snobby or anything. I've had an experience, with doing a guitar. I've got a picture of myself with Tommy holding one of his Explorer guitars. I don't need another photo from that ever again, because he signed it as well.
Right.
So. I'm done. I'm sorted. So, hung out. We met someone involved in the miniature guitars, and exchanged some very entertaining stories. We'll have to, just kind of leave that one there. And then while Tommy circulated around the rest of the room, just stepped out and went next door to Cleveland, which was exactly the perfect time because Eric comes in nearly immediately after we'd gone in there. And I didn't know anyone in there. And it was just like, Eric turns around and what do you say? He says, "How did you get in here?" Or, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, got kicked out next door." So it was nice to see Eric and be able to thank him as well for doing an interview for the Aerosmith book, because obviously he was Cleveland in the 70s where they did some big stadium shows, and he was at one of them. But I did ask him that question, which was probably the dumbest thing I could have asked him, because it turned into what could have been a long conversation when he's got real guests. I'm just like the interloper, waiting. I'm like, "Hey, so what are your favorite 3 Deep Purple albums?" And we'll do an episode about that, some of the time. But 5 minutes later, I'm just trying to kill the conversation because you better get back to your people, because I'm not supposed to be in here. Or, I don't know what the deal is, whether you are or not, but I didn't want to take away from their time. But he looked great. I mean, I haven't seen him up that close in makeup usually, and actually had an opportunity to interact with him. It's usually walk into a room and he shouts at me, and then photo. Of course, at the vault, that was a longer conversation. But what were your impressions of Eric?
Oh yeah, just a down to earth, cool guy. He walked past us. He noticed you, and then he walked past you, and he's walking away. So I took my, phone camera out, and then he actually turned around and he started walking back. I caught a picture, and he came back, and I had to quick pull he's coming straight at me, and I pulled the phone down. I was like, "Oh shoot, piss him off or something." And he came up and he just gave me a fist bump. He goes, You're on that video thing too, right? You got with Julian. I said, yeah, we're part of the thing. And then that's when he started talking to him. And then he also talked about the time he saw, Kiss with Rush opening. right? He mentioned a story about that where would he get on a chair or stood on something? He's right up front or something like that. So I thought, oh, that's a cool little story he just gave us too.
He's got some really good early Kiss stories.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if some other shows have done, those kind of interviews with him, because, if I ever get a chance to get him on a show, it's not going to be to talk about Kiss. It's going to be to talk about the music of his youth and, maybe some of the other bands that he's played with. But
yeah.
he's got some really great stories, as I think I mentioned to a couple of people when we were talking. When I did the Aerosmith interview with Eric, we went off on tangents. We got far away. I mean, he was schooling me on Queen at Nebworth in '86.
Wow.
You know, obviously he worked with Brian May. Where he schooled me
Hmm.
on a few other bands, and he just loves music and has such a knowledge of it. That he talks and he talks
Hmm.
and he's fun to talk to. You just
Yeah,
can't not smile, especially if you're into all that music as well. So very,
yeah.
very,
It
very
was
cool.
cool.
And then we cut out because went back to Tommy's room because I knew where the beer was there. Um,
And yeah, the refrigerated beer was there. Yeah, exactly. And soda and water and stuff. So yeah, it was comedy and whatever the hors d'oeuvres, which I snacked on a little bit because I was I was getting hungry, so I needed something a little bit in my stomach. But yeah, we hung out. Then that's when I got the picture right. We had to wait. We had to wait a little bit.
yeah, because
And then
he
Doc.
came in and greeted, and then
Mhm.
Doc came in.
Yeah,
Just shook hands with Doc, or
shook
fist
hand,
bumped
just
Doc.
shook hands like, okay, get away. Or
Yeah,
I don't know, but that was about it. He was busy doing his thing. You know,
yeah, he was taking care of families. He was, he had, these guys are working.
that's fine.
They have special guests back there who, are being brought in. Like one guy who was in with Eric's was just a contest swimmer from Drummer Magazine. So that's what he was doing back there. So you don't want to take away from their experiences when you can just roam and be a fly on the wall, and also get to see stuff going on in the halls. And David Lee Roth had started playing, so you know, we missed the Boots up in the VIP thing,
Right?
and then we missed David Lee Roth. He sounded great through the walls.
We heard it. Yeah, yeah. It sounded great. It's it's unfortunate, but I guess I'm lucky. I can go back and watch it on YouTube or whatever, but it's not the same thing. But at least I had seen him a couple of times with Van Halen back in the '80s, so at least I got that. So I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not worried in the slightest. Again, as I told everyone repeatedly, David Lee Roth was my first ever concert, so you know I can catch up with that um, on YouTube. Hopefully,
And don't
hopefully,
forget,
hopefully someone recorded the show. That would be nice.
yeah, don't forget while we're back there. Do you remember was it Ronnie Montrose's
Oh, his sister
his sister
bringing Eric.
a gift?
No,
No,
bringing
bringing
Tommy
Tommy a gift. Yeah, of
the gift of
the
the
first
first
Montrose
Montrose
album.
out. Yeah,
Yeah, so that was really cool, and they were. I didn't hear the conversation or anything, but it looked like Tommy was very happy to see her and and to get that album. I don't know if it was original or what, as far as vinyl goes. I was kind of from a distance, so it looked like it was a sealed album, though, from what I could tell. But
yeah. I
either
mean, the
way, it
nice
was
thing is
cool
how easy
that she
these
came
guys
in.
circulate with the
Yeah.
fans and with the contest winners, and then with the winners. A good chat with another podcast person back there who's, you know, way more up the food chain than anyone who's currently doing a Kiss podcast. Was interesting as well, with a lot of the 1980s stories of Black and Blue and some
Mhm.
of the Hollywood bands. I'm not going to say any names. Not appropriate to do so. So, David Lee Roth ramps up, and I think we pretty much headed out at that point. Um, Went had a
Yeah.
little bit of a look around, looking for exit to stage, and
So
got a photo
super.
of you by the Superman curtain, the
Yeah.
legendary one, which of course did have a guard on it, but if that's going to be the case. I didn't do a photo in front of that either. Um, Again, no need for me, but just kind of nice. The security was all cool, all fun.
Oh
Just
yeah.
you ever get the opportunity, just be respectful and enjoy
Mhm.
it. Um,
Yeah. At this point, we didn't even see I would poke my head out in the hallway and stuff like that. But I did not see, Gene or Paul. They were nowhere to be seen. I don't know. They were probably busy doing like Gene's probably signing his
Well,
guitars and
I think he does the vault.
vault
So,
and whatever else.
which was a shame because I did bring a pocket of vault buttons, which are the ones that I'm using to open the last of the stock of the vault supplement books, and I was just going to give those out to anyone that I saw carrying a vault book who had obviously just done a vault experience. Didn't see anyone, so
we don't know.
we get out there, and it's only like 15 minutes before showtime, so there were maybe 3 songs, find the seats. And holy crap, it's been a long wait for me to get back front row.
Yeah, it was cool. And I don't know if I've ever been front row at a KissFAQ. I think I've been like third row. Way back, I think it was for one of the Creatures shows. But otherwise, the Stone was kind of like being front row when I was in a club, of course. But that's a little bit different experience. But yeah, it was. I just wanted to, if this could be my last show, I want to be on the front row, at least one time for it. So it was worth it. I mean, when we exited the doors from Backstage, that front row, we were right in the line with front row. We didn't have to find our seats too hard or anything. We just walked down the front little lane of rows, and that was it. And we were just a little bit off center on Gene's side, and we were ready to go. And you went off to, it's 15 minutes before, and you went off to get one more beer, and and we'd be ready to rock.
Yep, I was I was not gonna have too much that night. Number 3 was gonna be number.
I like the guy to my left who had too much even before he sat down.
Yeah. And the great thing about that front row was the space. Just, looking up and again, it's been 20 years since the last time I was front row, and the last time was, a courtesy from someone. And, this time had to buy my own front row. That had nothing to do with any passes or anything. We bought tickets. We both
we bought tickets.
Front row. That wasn't
not cheap. Yeah,
it was not cheap. $1,000. So the great part was next to me were 2 empty seats. 2 people did not show, and I think those were resale tickets when I last checked.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that online too. Right.
But whatever the case, they were no shows. So there was one fella next to me who'd been up to the VIP with us as well, and he went nuts the whole show, which was really awesome. But nuts in a good way, just into it. But then again, I think I was going nuts as well the whole show.
He was really into it, man.
So we get to the drone. Everyone's in their place. I'm halfway through my beer, and wow. What did you feel of the difference? We saw them last year in Sacramento, and you were up in the stands, so you got to see more of the show opening, but it had more pods at that time. It was still the original full complement, versus the opening now with 11 pods. What was your impression of how the dynamic changed with your position in the arena?
What's the difference? I mean, you get a great show from the when you're further out, and I was for Sacramento out and to the left. It wasn't very real far back, like the lower stands, right in front of the lower stands, kind of off to the side of the floor, and you get a lot. You get the whole thing. It's the whole, all the lighting, all the fire. You can see everything at one time. All the blinking of the pods and them coming down. You can see everything at one time, where now the dynamic different is when you're up front, you feel everything more up front versus seeing it all. And you tend to focus on sometimes whatever is right in front of you. So, at the beginning, they're coming down the pods, and I'm just, looking at back and forth, and the everything is going off. Sparks are going, the fire's going, and the steam or fog, whatever you want to call it, is happening. And but yeah, you feel it. You hear the sound effects even more up front though. But yeah, once they got down on stage, you're focusing, trying to check because you're so close. You have to focus on one or the other, a little bit. You tend to focus on what's right in front of you, which was most of the time Gene on that side.
Yeah,
Right. Which
yeah.
is funny, and he was very animated for the whole concert. He was very funny too. But then the other guys come over and back and forth. But I check to see, okay, what's so and so doing, and Tommy, Paul, and then look at Eric, and you don't catch all the. You feel the flames, you see everything, but it's more of, I would say it's more intimate that way, just being front. Even though it's a big arena, it's more like an intimate type show because they're right there in front of you.
Yeah, because you're seeing the facial expressions, you're seeing muscles ripple, you're occasionally having eye contact with them as they're going through it. It's probably not registering to them, but they're looking directly at you or pointing at you. You're seeing a lot of what Gene actually does. Him wiggling his crotch at. You don't want to see it, but you get to see it. You get to feel the thunder up there. It really is the shock and awe. The opening, I did an A-B comparison. Someone put up a video of Detroit Rock City, the opening of the show. I compared it with one last year. It really is the full complement of what was done last year with 17 pods, with just fewer of those things from the stage. Actually getting to be under them as they come down is a really cool experience. There's a 5-foot gap between you and the stage, so there's enough space that you're not craning up too much, but you're really getting to enjoy it. And the only people who are getting in your way are, the security guards were good staying out of the way. But the photographers are doing their gig, especially for the first song, where you have the local press photographers and maybe other rock mags doing their things, and then you do have band member staff doing photos for the rest of the show and video cameras and whatnot. But I found it unobtrusive, which was really nice. And then you get to see that they tested the confetti cannons and everything before the show, anyone had even gotten there. So there was, a bit of confetti on the floor. Maybe it had fallen out from, during load-in. Who knows what's the case. You get to see the people who've paid for the pit experience. Now, I think we did better than the pit experience because they're right up against the stage, but they're far left, they're far right, so they're getting a fantastic perspective and a whole lot of other benefits from the package that they purchase as well. But here we are, I think we're closer to Paul than Gene, but we're kind of in between the two, and Tommy spends a lot of time coming in front of that kind of vantage point as well, so... it was very well positioned for the show. And I don't think we need to talk a lot about the songs, but, Tommy works his ass off on stage. You get to see him. And I think that's the key difference for me. I've been like 3rd row, 5th row, 10th row, and crap row, 9th row, way over for the 5 shows that I've been. But really got to see them working.
And playing. Yeah. You can really see them playing their instruments. And and how well they do play their instruments, and even though they're moving around quite a bit while they're playing, Gene is just pretty amazing himself on the bass. Just watching him, of course they're used to playing the same song almost every night, but still it's just with all that crap that they're wearing, and stuff like that, and to everything that's going on, to really be able to play and they're, it's very tight and great sounding music coming out of those speakers, because there was no sloppiness going on. I know that.
Yeah, the whole show is entertaining as hell. I was thrilled by the 2 songs that have been changed out since last year, Tears Are Falling and Parasite. Both came across fantastically. I went gaga for Deuce, as always. I got deuced. I'm happy. The show could have ended right then. No.
You had your Deuce. I had Black Diamond for me. It was good hearing, Tears Are Falling, because it's been a while seeing that live. I can't remember the last time I'd seen them do that. You probably know when they last did that in a regular tour. But it had been a while, so it was cool to see that, and back to back with Heaven's on Fire. So it's good. That's a good thing to do. Put those together. For a minute there, we thought we were going to get Crazy Nights, because he's talking about, Paul was saying, we're going to get crazy, and I was like, oh shoot, they're going to switch the set list up and throw Crazy Nights back in, but no, that didn't. It didn't happen.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't see anywhere was a set list. So
not even For Sale, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, that was interesting. So, again, we're not going to go through the set list because it is what it is. And any of the drama with the sound, I don't care. I thoroughly enjoyed how this concert sounded. I enjoyed being right there for Gene's fire shtick, even if
we couldn't really see at the beginning.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah, the fog was so thick. A couple times during the show, it was so thick you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see in front of your face. I was like waiting for it, like, oh please, I need to breathe and see something. But finally, it cleared just enough you could see the top half of Gene, maybe from the waist up, and we're able to see him do his fire routine. I filmed that one. I filmed that. I didn't film everything. I filmed here just little bits and pieces throughout. For the most part, I didn't do any film, and I took a few pictures, but I didn't have my phone up the whole time or anything like that. Most of the time, I didn't have it up. I was just,
I didn't pay $1,000 to be sitting here like this for
the whole concert,
and to do that to the band.
2 hours.
What must the band or a performer feel when he or she looks out at the audience? They're playing their backsides off, trying to get an audience reaction, and everyone's just sitting there. And there was someone else with a fucking iPad again. I mean,
was that really? I didn't see that.
They really got to get their drummer to start throwing drumsticks at people who are holding iPads up in concerts, because that's just so obnoxious. What other high points? I don't like the flying to the middle stage when you're left watching three guys on stage and Paul's back there singing.
That's where like I said, the other show that Sacramento, it's easier to see. Yeah. I can see it, I can probably see it like this, see what's going on. And I can just kind of glance over this way and glance over this way. I can see Paul doing this thing there, and then I can go back and watch. Where, we're right up at the stage. You have to, about face to see what's going on there, and then you don't see anything.
That's the moment that you become last row.
You need eyes in the back of your head. I guess I would, I was thinking when I was right there and that happened, that they should have the video at all times focused on Paul, the video that's shown behind him. So at least if we can still watch the band from there and see Paul.
Yeah.
Just watch the whole performance of Paul as he's out there. So just to take note, Kiss, of that. I think. So
it was funny. Keith was, sending video up online during the show. I was, when I did have my phone out for a photo, it was binging with, "You're on Kiss's thing feed right now." When they turn around and do some of the audience stuff, so that was hilarious. But when we did turn around to watch Paul at the mini stage. Yeah, I'm glad I got to see the Flying Star stage when they did that in Vancouver, because I think that was the only time this tour. When this show started, I was looking straight up because I wanted to see the Whistler rocket this time, especially from that close up. But again, when we turned around, there was one guy, third row, sitting down.
Really?
Sitting down. I think he was drunk, but it's like...
They're tired, not a Kiss fan or something.
I've got a bad back and bad hips and bad knees, and I stood the whole... I was just... It went so fast. That's the part that shocked me, how quickly this show was.
They go real fast.
All of a sudden, they're rocking into Parasite. They're into the tail end of the set. And wow.
Yeah, I mean, even a point you missed, going back a little ways, is is Gene Simmons, for instance, taking a swig of water and
Yeah.
spitting it out onto the security, the guard that was kind of right in front of us, and he has kind of a balding head, and Gene
Baldy.
just
He was
just
totally
a
shiny.
shot of water and just right on the guy's head. He's like, oh my god, what that, like that.
He turned around and Gene's just doing like an innocent face,
Like, I didn't do it. And then now Gene Simmons, the other thing is the Gene Simmons, the blood spitting thing. So
awesome.
yeah, so the lights go dark. I can see him getting his blood cup. It's dark, but I can still see his silhouette and putting the blood in his mouth, and fake blood, that is. It's not pig's blood or anything like that, but the fake blood, and all of a sudden I see something flying down the stage. He threw it out, his cup forward, and it went bouncing, and it bounced, and it was right below me, behind the railing. But the railing is kind of high, so I couldn't, reach over unless I wanted to really fall over into the, on the other side of it. And I motioned to the guy, the guard that just was splashed with the water, and said, hey, get, down there. And he was picking it up. He's like, what is that? Because it had a glow in the bottom of it too. I think it's a thing to find it. It's like they might put like a little piece of like a glow stick in the bottom, something, so they could find it. But so he picks it up and he was going to give it to me, and I just had it in my hand. And then this lady, all out of nowhere, comes and swipes it out of my hand. It's one of the Kiss, people. It might have been that same woman who was their announcer or whatever.
She has a name. We'll leave the name out of it.
Okay. Anyway, she has a name. So anyway, so she took it and says, no. What's it? It was sold already.
No,
somebody.
it's part of a package, or something to that
part
effect.
Of some package that you
something
can buy
that someone has purchased. So it's
and
it's
I was like, oh, I thought I was going to have the blood cup. I was like, oh man, and stick it out. But then oh well, and then but she gave me a couple of picks and whatever for not being able to get that. Which whatever, I guess that's fine. That's nice. But I had some of that blood, that fake blood on my hands. I was like, and it's really sticky stuff. That's really gooey, sticky, like glue almost in a way. But what I did is like, what am I going to do? So I pulled out my ticket stub and I put it on my ticket stub. So there's the little fake blood that I wiped on there, and I think I wiped it on. You pulled yours out, and
yeah, I got some on mine as well because some got on the railing, and it was on my hands. So I wiped some on it, and I wiped some. So that's one ticket I'm probably not going to sell.
yeah. So I thought, I might as well do that. And actually, my bag that I had on my seat even had some of it. And I was like, how did that get there? And it was behind me. It's like, I don't know how they got there. Anyway, because I hadn't touched it. So yeah, so we got to the end of the show.
Let's continue the blood theme because we get to the end of the main part of the show, and you have your break before Eric does Beth.
Oh yes,
and comes out and does Beth. It was great to see the piano up close and see it come up from the stage and see his feet not moving on the pedals.
Yes.
Again, it's a nice tribute to Peter and the Paul Lynde Halloween special. That's how I take it. I enjoyed it. Again, I sang just along to everything, even the songs that I say I'm sick of. I was just into the whole time, just enjoying, Beth included. And then the band comes out at the end and they walk around the stage and they goof. Eric grabs his drumsticks that he throws out to the audience. He threw one immediately down to one of the pit people for that experience, then another one out. Then he had 4 left in his hand, and he played them on Gene's crotch, which was covered with his blood from his God of Thunder thing. And, throws one out to someone else. And then he comes over, he stops in front of me, and the security guard points at me, and he goes, hey! And Eric just, points down at me. He's just it's like, whoa, really? And he just holds the drumstick out, and he just casually tosses it out. Easy catch. Nothing like Tripp's catch in Detroit Rock City. This was absolute easy. And yeah, thanks a lot, Eric. Thank you very, very, very much. I mean, that was completely unexpected to end up with a stage played, or not stage played, or stage thrown.
Yeah.
Cod play.
Well, he played it. Yeah,
It was played on Gene's crotch. I mean, so there was. I did tweet out a picture of this, and I did not have to fight someone for it, which was really cool. Everyone around me. Well, obviously it was you and the guy, the party animal. Well, not the party animal. The animal guy. You got a Tommy Hair thick. He flicked one out and it bounced off the security guard, and he picked it up and gave it to you. But I want to do a giveaway. Because I have a stage played or cod played Eric Singer drumstick now, I don't need the Eric Singer commemorative tour drumsticks that I bought in New York City. I think it was. No, I got these in Vancouver. And so this is our giveaway this week. And it's an easy one. It's, email KissFAQ@outlook.com with my favorite song of the set. It's been enough of the shows and was mentioned again today. So if you still don't get it right, then shame on you. And we'll send these anywhere in the world. Oh, and it'll also have a Gene Simmons pick, which is one of the ones given out during the show to me. It's a 2019, which I thought was kind of funny, unloading last year's stock. But there you go. Win on the Kiss FAQ this weekend, or this week. I'll do the drawing on Sunday, Sunday the 15th, or March the 15th at noon Pacific time. So email me before then, and you might get one of these, because I'm keeping the one Eric threw at me.
Oh, so, definitely.
Yeah, that's way too cool.
Oh yeah.
So then we get into the encores. Do You Love Me? Balloons, confetti.
Yeah, balloons.
That's all. That never gets old. So many balloons ended up on stage, and they were kicking them back. Didn't manage to grab one. I was going to try. I got one in New York, and it exploded on me. And then I saw it was just a plain old silver balloon. I was like, oh, really? But I don't need anything. And rock and roll all night, and boom, it's over. Thank you, Oakland. Good night. We love you.
Yeah. It was a great time.
Really, really fast.
It went fast. The whole night went fast. I mean, from the time we got there and, finally got inside, it went slow trying to get inside. But then once we got inside and things started to happen, then that night went pretty darn fast.
It was great. The house was packed. I mean, we sent pictures out. I'd even looked at, Ticketmaster before the show. There weren't that many dots. There were more resales, it looked like, than there were remaining seats. Again, the ticket office had done business in the lead up to the show, looking around the place. It was packed, but it was also a really fun audience. Vancouver was dead in terms of audience participation. Madison Square Garden was terrible as well. This was by far the best show of the 5 I've seen, whether it was because I was front row and having an absolute blast of a time, and I'd had my phone put away and I was just singing and enjoying the music that I love, that's been so important to me all these years. Maybe it was because beforehand, got to have a bit of interaction with a couple of band members, and a very special experience that was unusual. Maybe it was having 2 empty seats next to me, so I wasn't being jostled the whole show, or having a cool security guard. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was just really, really, really fun, really awesome, worth every penny that ticket cost. And, the review that came out the next day, about us braving coronavirus to go see the Kiss show. I mean, I would brave it to go see a Kiss show, especially if I was going to have as much fun as that again, and just being up front, with a bunch, or it doesn't matter if I was in the nosebleeds with a bunch of people who are going nuts, singing along and having fun, and not being drunk and fighting and puking and falling over. Makes a big difference. So, there was a little bit of a lesson for me as well. Moderate myself a little bit more, and I'll have a better time as well. Because when you've had 6 beers before a show, you really hope there's going to be a long drum solo so you can get to the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd was great. Yeah, it was one of the better crowds too. There was no fighting and craziness going on. They were just into it and singing the songs. Surprisingly, a lot of them knew the song lyric, the lyrics to the songs. They're very, very loud. I think it was, one of the loud, like when the Warriors are there, they're pretty darn loud. Or when the Warriors used to be there, So it was a great time, and yeah, maybe it's because we were right up front and you kind of feel it because all the sounds from the audience is coming towards us from behind us too. But it did seem. I mean, I was singing at the beginning, every song up to a point where my throat was like, I can feel, it's like I gotta hold back and not sing so much or just kind of pretend I'm singing or something. But no, it was just it was just a great time, and if it is my last one, it's at least it went out with a bang. If it is the last one.
Yeah, so I forgot one thing at the show. I don't remember if I ever gave you one of those, which was the Oakland badges.
Oh, yeah.
The postponed date. I threw all of them out. They 3, so I got one for you. Got one for
Mr.
Thank Schaller, you. Which I forgot to bring him, so I'll drop those in the post.
Yeah, well,
got one left.
Yeah, our tickets still say, of course, September 16th, which was the original date.
Yeah, and then I found I still have 3 of the Staples ones. Again, I threw the other 97 out, so there was no point. I even found my ticket from Staples Center.
Oh, nice.
Which,
keep it.
I got a refund on it, so it was void. Or else
okay.
Or else I would have given it to Lewis. All right. Well, I guess that any last thoughts, or that is everything?
No, it was pretty much everything. It was just a great night. The whole thing was fantastic experience. It was still an experience. Yeah, we didn't get the meet and greet kind of thing, but we did kind of get a half a meet and greet with the Tommy and Eric, and which we wouldn't have had that type of interaction if we were just going shuttled through a line of getting pictures with the band. So it worked out real good, and I thank you for bringing me along at least on the backstage for that. So it was good times, and I'm glad I was able to do it with you.
Yeah, glad those passes finally showed up because
they finally showed up. Cool. I thought we weren't going to get them for a while there. I thought,
I always figured if they are there, great. If they don't show up, great. Still have the VIP thing. Still have a Kiss concert to go to. But it was nice that they were, and that they also provided new experiences for me, new experiences for you, and fun experiences with a band that works really hard for its fans. That's my takeaway from all of this. I didn't get any confetti. Well, actually, I had 3 pieces in my shoe when I got up the next morning.
Yeah, my shoes were coated with from the spilled beer of the guy next to me and me stepping on it, and so I came home and there was still confetti on the bottom of my shoes yesterday.
I had no spilled beer. First one out of 5. No one spilled a beer on me. My jacket, I had brought a plastic bag with me. I tied it up in it and chucked it under my chair, and it stayed dry. I stayed dry. The only wetness was sweat from being an animal at a concert, which is perfectly fine. But no one puked on me. No one poured beer over me. No one spilled beer on my ground. It was wonderful. The Kiss staff were awesome. The arena staff were awesome. The audience was awesome. And all of you who've listened to this episode are awesome too. So thank you for listening to us go on about another end of the road experience. And I hope if you have one still to come that you enjoy it as much. So don't forget, you can win these Eric Singer drumsticks and a Gene pick by answering the question that I asked earlier. If you skipped ahead to this part of the show, shame on you. Rewind. That's in 2019 as well. All right, that's it for now. From Ken and myself, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.